What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. If you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your closest female friend will start to date a Kyle. Yeah, that's right. If you press the like button, you will save them from having to actually date a Kyle. And trust me, you don't want anyone to date a Kyle. Now, as you guys can tell from the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be telling you guys about my experiences with a person named Kyle. I have a lot of experiences with the person named Kyle, so if you guys like these videos, I can do more. But a very important thing that I need to say, okay? I don't hate you if your name happens to be Kyle. I want to make that very clear. I don't want you guys going around like making fun of people for having the name Kyle, because I feel like the name Kyle isn't what's bad. It's the culture of Kyle that is needing some work. I don't know if you guys agree with me here, but I feel like I've met some Kyles that are pretty chill, like a Kyle that could be like, yes, I invest my money in an S&P 500 fund in order to be smart with my finances. But I'm talking today about the Kyles that are, well, Kyle. You know, the Kyle that walks up with a Monster Energy tattoo on his forehead. The Kyle that slam dunks on his grandma while drinking an energy drink. The Kyle who rides his motorcycle to school, does donuts in the parking lot, and runs over the dean's shoes just to teach him a lesson about disrespect. The Kyle that we're going to be talking about today, ladies and gentlemen, is a Kyle. So if your name is Kyle and you're not chugging Monster Energy and punching drywall, then you're pretty okay. This isn't about you. But as for everybody else out there that is a Kyle, I got a news flash, man. You shouldn't trust a Kyle. The second you see a Kyle drinking Monster Energy, you know they're too far gone. You can't trust them anymore. You have to immediately shun them. And yeah, you're gonna figure out why. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, to truly understand the situation of Kyle, I gotta paint a picture for you guys, all right? I was a junior in high school, really doing my best out here to be the best student I could be. That's a lie. I was a really bad student, but nonetheless, whenever we got like a group project or anything, I would take it pretty seriously because I just, you know, when my grade's on the line, I'll goof off and mess around all day. Who cares? But when other people's grades are on the line, I couldn't just pretend that like I didn't care, all right? I couldn't let down the squad. For me, it's, you know, a little bit of, if my grade sucks, oh well. But if I make everybody else's grade sucks, then I'm just a douche. And we get put into a group project for our government class, which is a really weird group project. Basically, we had to come up with something that we loved about our state constitution, because I guess each state has their own constitution. Because in America, we just love constitution so much, we did it twice, all right? We were like, we love our constitution so much, we're gonna get another one per state, just to double dab swag. And at the end of our group project, we were going to go on a field trip to our state capital and look at the state constitution and like yada yada yada, no big deal, who cares? So I get put in this group, and it's me and two girls and this kid named Kyle. And Kyle happened to be the type of Kyle that you don't want to run into at night, all right? Like, if you were a drywall, you would assume that that type of Kyle was going to simply just, like, abuse you. He was the type of Kyle that if you made him mad at Fortnite, next thing you know, there'd be a monitor through his wall. Drywall would be everywhere. He showed up to class in Monster Cologne. One time I saw somebody drinking a Red Bull in the hallway and Kyle was nearby, and I'm pretty sure he walked over to the kid, picked him out, and threw him out the window. Like, this was a Kyle. The type of Kyle that you can just tell, you know, he's just a Kyle. Like, there's literally no other way to explain him. And at first, I didn't think it was too bad. I've dealt with Kyles before, and it's usually pretty chill. And the other two girls in the group were really smart, like some of the smartest people in the class. So I was like, okay, being in a group with a Kyle isn't the best thing in the universe. But regardless, our group is still pretty smart, and Kyle seemed pretty bearable that first day, so it was going to be no big deal, you know? And for the first little bit, we're doing our government project. Everything is pretty okay. And then Kyle starts to get more comfortable and starts putting in his input, and that's when things started to go slowly downhill. You see, we would meet every day in class and just talk about the project. We would kind of split up things in, like, you know, we would basically do our best to divvy up the work and then go home and do it. So the girls would be like, oh, Ryan, can you look up the year that our state constitution was written? And I would be like, yeah, sure. And the next day I'd come into class and I'd be like, here's a whole Wikipedia page that I found about the state constitution and how it was written. Like, that type of stuff, okay? Obviously, divide and conquer. And at first Kyle was on top of it, but over time Kyle slowly started to just not do work anymore. So we started to give him simpler tasks. We're like, all right, maybe Kyle's busy. Let's give him easier things. We'd be like, Kyle, can you show up tomorrow? tomorrow? Like, just show up. You don't even have to do anything. Can you just show up? And Kyle would be like, yes, I promise I'll show up. And then just wouldn't be at school the next day. Like, he just became the most unreliable group project partner of all time, right? So me and the two girls in the class are like, oh, this is annoying. Like, maybe we should talk to the teacher about it. We should say something. We should do our best to try to maybe get a different partner, get him switched out of our group because he's not doing anything. So one day after class, we walk in, me and the two girls, and we go to the teacher and we're like, hey, Kyle isn't really doing anything for our group project. Is there any way that you can get him switched out? Like, can we have a different partner? Kyle is just not doing anything for our grade. We don't feel like he's improving the project. He's not making it any easier to learn about the state constitution. Is there anything that we can do to get a different partner? And the teacher looks at us very seriously and goes, oh, so it is true. And we're like, what do you mean it's true? And he says, well, Kyle was telling me earlier today that you guys had been bullying him in your group and that you guys were going to try to kick him out. And I really don't appreciate the way you guys are treating Kyle. He seemed really upset when he was talking to me that you guys are mistreating him and how you guys said you were going to try to get him kicked out of the group so he would fail. And all of us are just flabbergasted. We're like, wait, what? Is the monster he drinking filled with hallucinogens? Like, where did this story come from? We hadn't said anything to Kyle about kicking him out of the group. We hadn't complained to his face at all because we were just like, the kid's just not doing work. The only person that had complained to his face wasn't me. It was another one of the girls in the group who had a talk with him and was basically like, hey, Kyle, you need to do more work. You know, all of us are working really hard to make this project happen and you're not doing anything. And when she had that discussion with him, he kind of looked at her and was like, oh, whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's just a silly group project. I don't know why you guys care. And I guess after that, he had figured out that we were probably going to try to get him taken out of the group because he wasn't doing any work. So he had gone to the teacher and been like, oh, these kids are being so mean to me. They said they were going to try to get me kicked out of the group. So if they come and say anything about me not doing any work, it's not true. You shouldn't kick me out of the group. And the teacher, obviously, when Kyle had come to him first and said all these things, didn't believe us when we were like, no, that's not what happened. He's not doing any work. Like, I'm telling you, he set us up. The teacher was like, okay, you're telling me that Kyle isn't doing any work and isn't paying attention, and he just happens to think that all you guys are bullying him. And then all three of you, who I've never seen hanging out before this group project, all come to me and complain about Kyle. Very likely story. Stop bullying him. In fact, since you guys want to be mean, you can do your project on your own, and kicks one of the girls out of our group. One of the smart girls that was doing most of the work, right? So at this point, it's me and another girl doing work because Kyle weaseled behind our back and to get out of doing work, snitched and said that we were bullying him and being mean to him, which we never were. So the next day in class, me and the girl who's left in our group go to Kyle and we're like, dude, what did you do? Like, you haven't been doing anything and then you went and got this other girl kicked out of the group. Why would you do that? She was doing so much work. And he basically is like, well, I just felt like you guys were being mean. And we're like, dude, you haven't been doing anything, and you know you haven't been doing anything. And this smile creeps across his Kyle face. The most Kyle face of all time. I swear to God, this guy got a monster tattoo on his forehead. He would look less like a Kyle. Like, this dude had the most Kyle expression of all time, and he goes, yeah, but you can't prove it. And we're like, oh my God, great. So now we have to do a group project with a confirmed sociopath who's gonna do his best to kick out anybody in the group that threatens his easy A. Like, I don't understand how this guy had never been taught a lesson before in his life, but he was basically admitting that he had manipulated the teacher into kicking the smartest person in our group out because she was gonna kick him out, and he just wanted an easy A by not doing any work. So whatever, we're like, fine, Kyle, you can just hold on to the research, all right? We won't make you do any work because obviously if we try to make you do work, you're just gonna slow down the group project. So you'll just keep all the information we gather and bring it to class, and then whenever we need it, we'll just get it from you, okay? Like, that's fair. Is that fair with you? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And then the girl had to leave class early that day to go do something. And Kyle and I get to talking, and we find out that we had some stuff in common. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was like, we both like to play the same video game. We both like to, you know, play Xbox. And he goes, oh, Ryan, do you want an easy A? Like, do you want an easy A? And I'm like, well, obviously I would like an easy A. I'm not the person willing to lie and cheat my way out of kicking people out of the group to get an easy A, but obviously if I had it my way, I would get an easy A, you know? And he goes, yeah, I understand. Trust me, what if I told you that I can get us an extension on the project so that way we could get more work done? And I'm like, oh, we're gonna get an extension on our project? That's super sick. We just lost a member of our group that was, you know, doing a ton of work. Obviously, I would like us to get an extension. And he goes, yeah, no problem. I'll get us an extension. And I'm like, dang, you know, we were open with Kyle. We said, hey man, we don't appreciate you slowing down our work. Oh my goodness, guys. This is gonna be great. He's gonna get us extra time to do our project. And this is when I learned a very valuable lesson, which is that you never, and I mean never, trust a Kyle Kyle, ever. Because what happened next was something that I did not foresee coming, all right? You know when you make a wish with a genie and they do the wish, but they mess it up enough so that way, like, it's not actually what you wish for? I swear to God, Kyle was actually a monster genie, all right? Every drywall that he punched wished that they weren't going to get punched, and he figured out a way to trick them. You see, for the next week or so, me and this girl are doing all the work, and our project's almost done at this point. Basically, almost all done. Like, literally, I think we needed to put the finishing touches on, which was fair because our field trip thing where we, like, were finishing our project and doing a celebration of the state constitution, whatever, was in only a day or two. So obviously, at this point, I'm like, all right, you know, Kyle has worked it together. He said he was going to get us more time, but he lied about it because we haven't gotten a time extension, but that's okay because me and this girl have been working around the clock to get this project done. Like, we got it done. I guess Kyle doesn't really need to get us an extension. It would be helpful, yeah, but it's not the end of the world if we don't get an extension from our teacher because me and the girl have done most of the work. Like, me and her have done everything. It's not like it's the end of the world. Our project's done, and that's what matters. And that's when Kyle struck. I come into class the day after we're almost finishing. The day after I'm having these thoughts about how we don't really need more time, and, you know, me and this girl have gotten the entire project done. And as I walk in, the girl is sitting at our desk pissed. Like, I can tell by the look on her face she's pissed, with the teacher talking to her and Kyle standing there smiling. And I walk over and I'm kind of like, hey guys, what's up? And I put my backpack down and I start taking out my pencil and I'm like, yo, Kyle, do you have all of our research? And he goes, yes, I have all of our research. And he put a very large emphasis on our. And I'm like, huh? What? Why are you saying it like that? And I kind of look up and the teacher's staring at me and the girl is pissed and I'm like, what's going on? And the teacher says, well, it's come to my attention that you and Kyle have been doing all the work and she's just been sitting here taking credit for your guys' hard work. And I look at Kyle and I look at the teacher and I look at the girl and I go, that's not what's been happening. And he goes, no, Ryan, you can't lie your way out of this one. Kyle told me you would try to have your back because you have a crush on her. This is all I need to do to prove it. And he takes all of our research. And Kyle had gone home and basically taken everything the girl had written down and done, redone it in his handwriting, throwing her copies away. And so the only things left were me and Kyle's research and writing. And he was like, if she had actually been doing work, then wouldn't there be things to show for it? Like, come on, obviously she hasn't been doing work. I know you're gonna cover for her because you have a crush on her. And I look at Kyle and I'm like, dog, you're just lying. Like, dude, you're just lying. And he goes, no, Ryan, I know that you have a crush on her and you'll thank me later when you realize that she's just using you for your hard work and that we're actually gonna get the grade we deserve on this project. This kid had weaseled and lied his way to the point where the girl that had been doing all the work with me was now getting in trouble for not doing any work because he had gone home and copied everything that she had done in his own handwriting and gotten rid of any of the evidence that she was the one doing the hard work. That's right, Kyle. Why you should never trust a Kyle is this Kyle had lied 2 girls out of the group of all their hard work. So I look at the teacher and I'm like, all right, well, what's going to happen to our group project then? If me and him have been doing all the work, and he goes, well, I'm going to kick this girl, he says her name, out of the group and she can do her own group project within the next 3 days before we go on our trip because she wanted to try to take credit for your and Kyle's hard work. And I look at the girl and I'm like, sir, that's not what happened. And my teacher snaps at me and goes, Ryan, I don't want to hear it. I've seen plenty of evidence from Kyle to know that this is what's actually gone on. And if you try to make any more excuses, then you can do your own project too. And I'm like, dog, I don't want to redo the entire project. So I keep my mouth shut, right? And the girl is like, what are you, Kyle? Like, you're such a douche. Why did you do that? And he goes, well, you know, I just wanted a little bit more time for my project. And the teacher said that we can have a couple extra days. We can finish our project when we get back from the field trip because you haven't been doing any work. And she's like, but I've been doing the work. And Kyle looks this girl in the eyes that he has just kicked off the project that she's been doing all the work on and says, well, yeah, but can you prove it? Because last time I checked, all the papers that the teacher have me and Ryan's handwriting, and yours, oh my gosh, they're in the trash. You can't prove that you've done anything. And I know Kyle's have a rep for being stupid, okay? Kyle's have a rep for punching drywall and chugging Monster, but this Kyle was actually an evil genius. He had orchestrated getting 2 girls kicked out of the group, and I don't know why he didn't kick me out of the group either, but I'm still sitting here. So the girl huffs and puffs and goes and sits at her own table to start working on her project, even though she had basically done all of ours. And I'm like, dude, that's not cool. And he looks at me and goes, I told you we'd get an extension, right? And I'm like, that's just not how I wanted an extension. Like, if I wanted an extension that way, I could have lied and cheated too, but that's just not the right way to do it. Our project was almost done. Like, you didn't even need more time. It's not like our grade was gonna suffer. You just did it because you wanted to do it. And he looks at me and says the most sociopathic thing I have ever heard come out of a Kyle's mouth. Yeah, but I just kind of wanted to do it to see if I could. I don't know why the teacher believed Kyle so much. They must have had like an under the table agreement or something, because he didn't get caught until much later. Okay, I'll probably have to do a part 2 because this video is gonna be another 20 minutes before we even get on the field trip. Not another 20 minutes. This video will be about 20 minutes before we even get on the field trip, all right? But there's some more stuff I gotta cover. So at this point, I know that Kyle is a little bit evil and will basically screw over everybody. And I don't know why he hasn't messed me over, but I start keeping track and proof that I'm actually doing work and I'm not lying and I'm not bullying Kyle. I start, you know, recording us in class just to make sure that he can't lie and say that I said anything that I didn't. I start keeping picture copies of all of our notes and everything, but I do this low-key. I don't tell Kyle that I'm doing it. I don't want him to know, but basically, I start keeping a low-key record of everything that I do on the project because I've just got a feeling that Kyle is going to try to screw everyone over because he's a crazy person who's a sociopath and apparently just gets people kicked out of his group because he wants to see if he can do it, which surprisingly he can, okay? I don't know why teachers trust Kyle's. If I meet anyone with the name Kyle, I don't trust him. And that's why a little bit ago I tweeted, by the way, follow me on Twitter at @scrubby_69, that I don't trust anyone named Kyle. It's because of this story. And I was thinking about it because I was actually texting one of the girls who got kicked out of the group and we were talking about how this kid is a sociopath. But regardless, I start keeping my own records of everything that I've done for the group project because I'm basically pretty sure at this point that when we're in town or whenever we get back, Kyle is going to try to screw me over and get me absolutely no credit for the group project. And I was almost doing this as payback too. I knew the girls that got kicked out were obviously upset that their grade was going to suffer because they were smart girls that were working really hard, like they were doing a lot of the work. And it was almost a little bit of, I'm gonna catch Kyle talking about things that he shouldn't be talking about and try to mess him up, okay? And I don't do these things proactively. Like, I'm not evil, but if you're gonna mess with people's grades, then I'm gonna mess with you because you're not gonna be better at being a slimy little sneak than I am, all right? I will call myself a sneaky person if I have to be. I don't go out of my way to screw anyone over. I don't go out of my way to get people kicked off my group projects, but I promise you, Kyle, that you've met your match and I'm gonna outmaneuver you to get you in trouble. So like I said, I start keeping track of things and everything is normal for a little bit. I don't know why Kyle liked me. Maybe he could tell that I could see through the act and I didn't think he was some pretty little angel, but he was pretty nice to me from that point on. And he was like, oh, don't you like that we got more time for the project? I'm like, yeah, whatever. But there's one other thing that is going to be important in the next part of the story, which I'm gonna have to do in another video. Basically, 2 days before we left, so the day after he got the girl kicked out of the group, he was being really nice to me, and we get our room assignments for the trip. And whenever you go on a school field trip, you don't all get your own hotel room because, I don't know, schools just really aren't balling like that. Government, if you're watching this, you need to give our schools more funding so that way I could get a room separate from Kyle next time, even though I'm not in school anymore. I don't want any other kid to suffer with having to have a Kyle roommate. And sure enough, I'm in a room with nobody else other than Kyle, and he is hyped at this. He's like, yo, bro, we're gonna have such a good time. Like, this is basically a free vacation. And I'm like, Kyle, this is not a vacation, okay? I have to be with you, all right? And he's like, no, dude, it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have so much fun. And I'm like, all right, Kyle, sure. We're gonna have so much fun together, even though I don't like you. And let's just say he tried to screw me over in the hotel room. But that's gonna do it for part 1 of this story, guys. I'm gonna have to do a part 2. I'm sorry. I know this video is incredibly long. If I could make it shorter, I would. But I want all of you guys to press the like button, comment down below if you enjoyed, and follow me on Instagram @Scrubby and my Twitter @Scrubby_69 if you too have been personally victimized by a Kyle. Today's notification shout out goes to Blue Ice. I think that's the way you spelt it. You spelled blue wrong. Regardless, if you want a notification shout out, turn on notifications on this channel and send me a DM to my Instagram @Scrubby. And on that note, I'll see you guys soon with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.